Oh, hey. You know you love when I stomp on you. So I try to beat dead cells with only down slams. And I kind of realized in the middle of this that this was going to be harder than it seemed. Check it. So first we're going to have to figure out what counts as a down slam. So we already know the basic premise of a down slam. If you're going to stamp onto the ground, land down, and it can trigger your amulet, we can classify it as a down slam. But were there any other sorts of damage I would have to allow myself to use? Number one, I let myself use parries. Why? Because I felt like parries were detrimental for me to even have a chance to reach bosses at all. Two, we wouldn't have any other way to parry anything. So, parries on the table. But then what about weapon damage? Would I be doing the whole run with no weapon? Technically, no. I will be using down slams as my primary, but I would need to find a way to get myself in the air. And that's where I find this weapon after a lot of research. The King's Scepter. So, I've dabbled in the King's Scepter with my first playthrough of Dead Cells, where I used the Panchaku and the King's Scepter, and I found out that the King's Scepter was best for mobility. Checking the Wikipedia, I was right. This weapon is not supposed to primarily be used for damage and is more of a mobility tool. But for this one moment, I thought it would be the best thing to help me out achieve my goals, because I need as much help as possible to get my down slams down. And I also figured out that its drilling animation is done with your feet. I think that kind of counts as a down slam in itself, because you're technically slamming your feet repeatedly in a spinning motion. Thus, it would be the best way for us to actually achieve it. So we can parry, we can down slam, and we can use the King's Scepter. But what would be the powers that I could use for this one? We'd first have to look at offensive powers. And when I remove all offensive powers to only have one that can help me deal with down slamming, I'm left with one candidate. Telronic shock or Telronic shock? One of the two. I don't know. But seriously, Telronic shock. When looking at the Wikipedia, it says leap into the air and violently land back on the ground to inflict 150 damage to enemies around you. If that's not a down slam, then I don't have eyeballs. The second thing I'd have to deal with is I would need a very defensive ability, or a second power, of course. I was looking at a few that could have helped me. Number one is ice armor. It covers you in ice armor. What else were you expecting? But the interesting thing about this is that I can force it to explode, which will freeze enemies nearby, or if I get hit, it will explode and freeze enemies nearby. And it had a cooldown of about 20 to 30 seconds. 20 seconds, I like to say. I looked at the cooldown and I was like, that's way too high for me. So I kind of told it to take a hike and go find its mom, because she's probably looking for a failure like it in this specific run. The cooldown was too big. So who else could I use who was going to be able to gift me the beautiful ability to win this run, or to at least try to win? So I looked at a few other abilities, and one stood out, or should I say two stood out, better than the rest. The first one was the Divine Card. So what the Divine Card is that it's a single power that can turn into four other cards. These four cards have different modes. So we have one that's called Barrier Card, we have Catalyst, we have Electrodynamics, and Foresight. The two that I found most interesting was Electrodynamics and Foresight. Electrodynamics would let me then gain the ability to have passive damage. And that sounded like the best thing ever. 3 orbs that could be activated through me using other skills. And I thought about it, and that was great. And the defensive capabilities from Foresight made it, of course, my number one option. So I thought, until I found Wave of Denial. Wave of Denial had a cooldown that I couldn't say no to, but it was interchangeable with the divine card. It had a cooldown of 5 seconds and it reflected all nearby enemies. But I found out it didn't just reflect all nearby enemies, it reflected even projectiles, which I found very interesting. So I was kind of trying to figure out what it would synergize with, but there is no specific synergy for it because it's so generic, and with such a small cooldown, it could work both as an offensive and defensive tool. So I would have the two powers that I could put in the slot, which would be the divine card of Wave of Dissonance. So we'd have to see what the RNG gods would bless me with when these two were activated. Now, that's all fine and dandy, but what shield am I gonna run? Dead Cells has many shields, and just to name all of them: Old Wooden, Frontline Cuddle, Punishment, Knockbacks, Ram, Assault Shield, Bloodthirsty, Greed Spike, Parry Force, Thunder Ice, and Alucards. And that's all the swords in Dead Cells. Well, shields in Dead Cells. Sorry, Alucard's sword and Alucard's shield are just the same thing to me. But with all seriousness, which shield would work the best for me? I was looking and there were only two that would work better than the rest. And that's the Assault Shield and the Rampart Shield. Why the Rampart Shield specifically? When looking at the Rampart Shield, it gave me protection that I couldn't even think of. More protection than, I don't know, whatever you use in the bed. But in all seriousness, it creates a shield around me after a successful parry. And I think that was a very useful thing. But versus the Assault Shield, which gave me mobility and defense, I could not say fuck no. The Force Shield was also a runner-up, but unfortunately I never unlocked it. So it's technically off the table by default. Sorry guys, it would have helped I think, but I don't have it on the table. So that's just tough biscuits. And another funny thing about the Assault Shield, it has good synergy with the King's Scepter. You know, my main weapon for hitting things. And I just had to talk a little bit more about this synergy. Dash, 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 dash. That's all the synergy they have. They fucking move fast as fuck, boy. And that's all you need in life, man. We as humans live for one thing. And that is to move fast. Fast and faster. Now with that out of the way, this is all fine and dandy, but as I said, I would need a lot more help. So I went to aspects, and of course I took Stomper. What other aspect could I take, guys? Stomper is the best one. I said in the beginning of the video, Stomper is the best, and it was the only one I could actually use. So that's the first, that was the greatest thing I could have done. Now with that out of the way, what route would I take? It's so important. I have the build, but the route could kill me as fast as fuck because I feel like this build doesn't like spikes at all. I don't think it likes spikes at all. So I would have to choose a route that would work. But first, I'd have to make it through the first route. If you're enjoying so far, why don't you consider biting the like button and kicking the subscribe button in the balls? I'll kick your baby makers! So the first thing I'd have to deal with is getting out of prisoner's quarters. You know, the place where all of us start. And if my build couldn't get out of here, that means it would have just been dead on sight regardless. So since it's just 0 boss cells, I don't have many enemies to think about. All I have to think about are the zombies, the guys with balls on their head, the archers, and the shield bearers, who are just zombies holding shields for God's sake. Just call them shielded zombies. But okay, but with that out of the way, I don't have a lot to think about. But if I was on more than 0 boss cells, there would be more enemies to think about. All of the enemies are on screen, as you can see, per your boss cell category. So yeah, if you're gonna do this, good luck if you're gonna have boss cells on. You gotta be more cracked than me. I'm not even cracked at all. So after dealing with that issue, I'd have to deal with one problem that I didn't think would affect me. And that was I had my full shield roster up and running. That means I had every single shield ready to go. And I wasn't blessed with the Assault Shield. The one shield I needed because it had the best synergy with this build. So I would have to pray to the RNG gods to give me my dear Assault Shield. And lo and behold, the RNG gods had blessed me by giving me the seller. Woo, baby, the seller. You know, the guy who sells things to you. And the first thing he gave me was my assault shield, meaning that the assault shield problem was officially dealt with. But then another problem showed itself. Where would I go next? So first, I would want us to figure this out. This is prisoners' quarters. We could go to the prominence of the condemned, or we could go to the toxic sewers, or we could go to the dilapidated arboretum, or the castle outskirts. All of this gives us different routes. But the problem would come into who has spikes, because this build can handle traps and spikes. So of course that means the condemned is off the table. Toxic sewers is our best pick. The dilapidated Brotram is actually off the table because it's full of spikes. And castle's outskirts, I can't go to the castle's outskirts just yet. It wouldn't be the best choice. So of course, the best choice is the toxic sewers. But being the dumbass I am, of course I have to go to the dilapidated. Yeah, so I kind of got to go to the dilapidated. Just for the shits and giggles, of course, because it is one of the worst places for me to be. Because as I said, Spike, these motherfuckers everywhere. These motherfuckers are just on the wall, on the ground. Then we got these fucking traps that are just ready to snap at me if I ever land on them. Making down slams the worst thing to do in this biome. Let's not even talk about how these big mushroom boys would try to kill me every 5 seconds. And then I found this guy with the armadillo pack. Like, bro, I get it. You've got like a shield on your back, but luckily for me, down slamming bypasses this. So if you ever want to deal with this guy in any boss cell, just down slam. Just bloody down slam. Or find another way to get this stupid ass away from here. It was one of the most annoying shits I had to deal with. But yeah, other than that, I wanted to just check if this build could actually work in its worst case scenario with good play. And it did better than I thought it would, actually. I really thought I was going to die like more often than not. But I guess I was wrong. The build really is kinda cracked. Kinda broken. It's not the strongest build, but it does what it's supposed to do. But then I think after this I had to deal with one of my biggest problems was where would I go next? Because I chose this route which just leads to more bad routes. So I'd kinda have to weigh which route would be better. Okay, now that since I went to dilapidated, I only have options for prisoners, depths. Nah, I'm not feeling it. Rampart, nah, I'm not feeling it. And Maris of the Banished. I'ma call it Morris for short. Okay, if I went toxic sewer, I could have just went corrupted prison, rampart, the ancient sewer, or castle, or Dracula's castle. I feel like despite everything, we're always going to have to end up here. Understand, like, there's a lot of gaps here and a lot of ways for me to fall down, but rampart is the only way for me to get to the dark, to the black bridge, except unless I get to the ossuary. But I feel like also the ossuary, I need to like take like that route there. So rampart is our only way in, even though it's also bad for the build. But checking our options, we gotta go here because it's not yet time for us to get to Dracula's castle. I thought that rampart was going to be like the hardest place for me, but it turns out it was pretty much the easiest. Like, not for killing enemies wise, but I skipped the place pretty quickly. I think it comes from the natural synergy from like the shield and the king's spear. Like scepter, sorry. The thing moves so fucking fast. Like, I just crossed the biome in fucking a few, I wouldn't say minutes, seconds actually. It didn't take that long. I was just hit an enemy, fly up, and then I was just dashing away, and then I was out of the biome. It really wasn't that bad. But if you're trying to kill all the enemies, I would say yeah, it's gonna be bad. But other than that, it was really easy. Another thing I had to deal with was checking my surroundings because I was pretty much gambling half of the time when I was in the air. Like while I was floating in the air, hitting things, I was like gambling with my life. I was genuinely gambling with my life because there were times when I knew there may be no platform underneath my feet. But being the idiot I am, I took the challenge. So, of course, because like, why not? Why the hell not? It was just, I feel like it was so much more fun just because I only had to deal with mobility. But if you're playing on higher boss cells, as I like to say, you're fucked. Just know what's going on with your biomes, guys. Just know what's going on with your biomes. Know the enemies that you're going to have to deal with and understand if they're going to teleport or not, because you won't be able to have as much fun as I was. The concierge. Can't believe you're still a boss, man. Watch me spin, baby. Watch me spin. Up in the... Ow. Damn it. I really wanted to... You know what? Fuck you. Fuck you. I really wanted to beat you without having to deal with any bullshit. And like, you just decided, hey, no, man. How about I don't flawless you, huh? You're a bitch. How's the stun grenade, eh? Hey? Aye. Fuck you. You're such a fucking bitch. Stay stunned. I am fucking leaving. What the fuck you gonna do about it? What the fuck you going to do about it, you bitch? You're just a bitch. You're just a bitch. Just a bitch. Just a bitch. Just a bitch. Stop yelling at me, you bitch. Just a bitch. Period. What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? Nothing, because you're a bitch. Fuck, man. I hate this guy so fucking much. Like, how did you even pass the boss test? Like, tell me, man. Who let you pass, like, all of the guards? You're not supposed to be a boss. Hey, get away from me. Bad. Flip my health. Okay, boss executed. At least I got rid of him. Okay, now that we've beaten the concierge, we have an option. We can go to the Split Village, Slumbering Sanctuary, the Graveyard, or the Fractured Shrine. Fractured Shrine is a bad idea because there's so many fucking gaps, but there's a legendary here. So the value is that there's a legendary here. I can get a legendary King Scepter. But I would say the safest route is definitely the village. But I'm going to go Fractured Shrine because of just the legendary. So I just entered Fractured Shrine and I thought, you know what? I was able to skip Rampart, so let's try skipping this place too. And I dealt with my first problem. This place needed more precise platforming. Like, I would have to deal with the enemies on small platforms and my dumbass landing on places and getting stunned and falling into the void. Wow. Luckily, my dumbass would never do that again, right? Oops, look at me fall into the void again. I guess I never learned. Yeah, it was just so annoying to be here. Like, the only reason I'm here is because of the legendary. If this place didn't have a guaranteed legendary, I swear to God, I wouldn't be here. I swear to God, I wouldn't. But like, that legendary had me coming here. But like, I had to deal with the first thing. The RNG. Man, the RNG gods would have to bless me again with good fucking RNG. Fucking good RNG. So then I decided to look at the stone golem and say to him, hey there, golem, have you ever heard of me, the Beyblade? I spin. And he just couldn't see me as I spun on top of his head. But when I got off of his head, he hit me. And I had to fucking deal with a fucking snake. What a fucking bitch. So after spinning on his head like a Beyblade one more time, I just walked in and I said, cool, let's see what we can do here. I grabbed the money because I need more riches, and I found out that the RNG gods were no longer on my side. But they did give me a thunder shield, which I immediately used to replace my bloodlust shield, and I had an idea. What if I ran Armadillo pack? I thought that would be the best thing to do here. So I knew the next the next door, I would maybe think about changing up my build to see what the fuck might happen. I think it might be worth it though. I think it might be worth it. Okay, another thing that we're going to look at is now, I know that we got to the Fractured Shrine, and of course we can only go to the Undying Shores and the Clock Tower, but I wanted to talk more about this, right? Undying Shores and Clock Tower. Of course, we're not going to go to the Forgotten Sepulchre, because, oh my god, this is a scary place, The caverns is a no-go. It's like the forgotten. It's like the fractured shrine. But the problem is there's no big payoff. The fractured shrine has that whole legendary, which is its big payoff. So Undying Shores would lead me to the mortuary, which would cause me to have to fight the scarecrow, who is someone I'm not comfortable with. And then Clock Tower leads me to fighting, of course, how the scary white woman herself, the Timekeeper. And I feel like the Timekeeper is a fight that I could totally handle, hopefully. Man, the clock room was so weird. Like, one, so many bloody spikes. Like, for fuck's sake, somebody get all of these spikes out of my bloody way. Just like, please, somebody get these spikes out of my way. I just couldn't deal with it. Just 5 minutes. 1 minute I'm looking at one enemy, another minute I'm looking at another one. Then I'm just dashing around the place, just thinking, hey, these guys like bombs. This place is full of traps. I hate maneuvering. I'm probably the worst platform player to ever exist, and I will never get good at platforming. I didn't even know what I was thinking, but I still had to try my best to get out of here as fast as possible, because it was the only fight I could do without even crying or running back to my mom and telling her that I'm being bullied by platforming. And it's not like she would be proud of me after I told her that shit. But yeah, I did really try my best to get out of the clock tower. And honestly, I found it semi-easy. Not easy enough for me to get my 60 kills and get out of there, but easy enough for me to not get hit as often as I'm supposed to. And if you watch my last video, you would know why it's so important to not get hit in this game. But it doesn't mean I'm perfect. Yeah, now it's time for me to fight you, Timekeeper. Oh, look at your bazongas. Did you know I have bigger bazongas than you, even though I'm wearing your outfit? What you gonna do about it? What you gonna do about it? You pissed? You pissed? Oh, look at you. Oh, damn. Scary white woman. Scary white woman. Get slammed. Yeah, scary white woman. Bye. Why? Papa always told me never give a woman a sword. Damn, woman a sword. What? Who gave this woman a sword? Dash, baby. Scary white woman. Oh, damn. Damn. Stop. Why are you so pissed that I got bigger bazongas than you? Okay, you want to finish the fight? Got it. You can try. I'll heal. Look at me. Come on. You can't stop me. You won't ever stop me. Ouch. Why? Who gave the woman the sword? Leave me alone. Scary white woman. Stop it. God. No. Ugh. Why? Who gave the woman the sword? Oh, saved by the boss execution? Damn. Cry about your small bazongas. Okay, now that I beat the Timekeeper, it comes the time that everyone has been waiting for. The last biome before we fight a final boss, depending on which one I go for. We have the high peak castle, which would lead me to fighting, of course, His Majesty himself. We have the dilapidated, just not the dilapidated, the Dilectric Distrillectro, which would lead me to fighting Hand of the King, or to the Lighthouse, which would lead me to the Queen. Infected Shrine, we do not have that one, because I did not go to, I didn't fight the Scarecrow. But I feel like fighting Dracula's the way. Dracula's the only fight that is actually doable. I understand that he has two forms, but as of the first form, it's very doable. The Hand of the King, his problem is that he would hit me off too many times, and the point that he summons other enemies is problematic. And just how limiting the arena is not good for the build, especially in a boss fight. So then the Lighthouse is just the Lighthouse, guys. It's really hard to navigate against. The Queen also has the same problem. The ledges of the arena are places where I can fall. So Dracula's castle is where I have to go. So I have to go to Dracula's castle. Of course. Before I fight Dracula, I kind of had to look at all of the things I had in my build and some of the mechanics I was using throughout the whole journey. Number one was fire. I thought about fire and how I was using it a lot because of the amulet that I was wearing. For every down slam, I got fire on it. Something I had on me was spreading oil on my enemies. Of course, just oiling up your enemies is all you need to do to set them ablaze. And also, by the way, no Diddy, don't go oil up people, you sick fucks. But yeah, I kind of thought about it that way. Because I needed to spread oil on Dracula and then set him ablaze. After he would be all fired up. Get it? Ah, sorry. Okay, sorry for the bad pun. But honestly, I would need to use this to my advantage, and I would have to also get it because I feel like the burning oil um is like super effective against a lot of enemies. And like Dracula is someone who's not, immune to it. I also had my King Scepter, which was poisoning people. I would think that was good. I would think it was actually amazing that my King Scepter was poisoning people. I was ecstatic knowing that. But it is what it is. So I feel like the Divine card was something that was really helping me out, especially because it was in electrodynamics. And there was not much I could say about it. The passive damage was so helpful. I was just really wishing from time to time I ran, something that kind of benefited it more. But I guess one day I will. So now with this, I had to go deal with a problem called Medusa. Hey Medusa, do you remember the last time when I told you you had a flat ass? Turns out I was wrong. Yours is worse than that. Like I've seen things that are flat. I've seen things that are like literally bigger than your ass, man. I've seen paper that's thicker than you. Like, so if you would be so kind to just give me your head, I will be really happy. Why do you hit like a bus? Damn, executed? Weakling. Can I have your head? Come on, again. Every time not giving me head. I hate you for that. We finally made it to the end of this bloody journey. Master's Keep. I have been waiting for this shit. This is going to be quite the fight. Okay, now all I have to do is beat Dracula in a fight. I have prepped myself enough for this. Dracula, have at die. You know what? I'm going to skip this whole dialogue real. Ready? Overgrown biatch. Dodge. Oh, you got parried, son. Yeah, baby. Yeah, wall strat. Boom, boom. Back onto the wall. What are you gonna do? I'm Spider-Man. Get away from the wall if you don't want to deal with my bullshit. Oh yeah, look at the bats. Look at the bats. Look at the bats. He thinks he's Batman. King of vampires? Nah, I'ma just stick to the wall. I am real. No, how the hell did you grab me? No bloody way. That is so unfair. Get away from me. Come on, parry. Shit. That is so, no. Leave me alone. This is not the way I want to die. Come on, I just need to heal. No, let go. I just wanted to heal. No. Wait, please, Dracula. This is not in the script. You're supposed to lose. Bro, it's not in the script. Read the script. Bro, please. Read the script. Read the fucking script. Read it. Read the fucking script, you bitch. Read the fucking script. What is wrong with you? Boom. No. Yeah. You think I'm gonna let you touch me, you bloodsucker? Okay. I'm back on the wall. I am back on the wall. I'm Spider-Man. Boom. Get away from me. I got this. Come on. Back on the wall. Highest point of the wall. Okay, we got him. We got him. I think we got him. No. Okay, I just need one more heal. Come on. Bro, stick to the script. You're not supposed to be doing this. You have 2 forms. I'm supposed to beat you. I'm supposed to beat you, little bro. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's not do that, bro. Let's not do that. Bro, please. No, no, no. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. No. Damn it. Can't believe I lost.